Good morning everybody, how are you doing? I'm hoping that you'll join me in a moment or in a couple of minutes to make a bauble wreath, a really nice addition to your front door and something that you can put up every single year. It's really weatherproof, but it also looks nice inside your house. And you probably may have a lot of the items at home already, so you don't have to go shopping, or maybe there's like one or two things you need, but it should be easy to get hold of. I try and make sure that you don't have to break the bank to buy it. And in fact, I've remembered something. I need to pop my hot glue gun on, so just bear with me a second. I didn't do it before because I didn't want to waste any glue. 2 seconds. Okay, hopefully that'll warm up in a second. Oh good, lots of people joining today. Hope you're all well, hope you're feeling festive. I know lots of people are putting their decorations up early this year, and why not, isn't it? It's been a long old year, so I hope you're ready to feel, you're feeling all the Christmas vibes. So yeah, just for those who just joined, we're going to be making this. I'm going to be making a smaller version today because I don't want to keep you here forever. You'll hopefully be really excited and you'll want to go out shopping and get it started. So this is a bauble wreath, a couple of little wobbly ones, but I put it up every year. This is actually a couple of years old now and it's lasted really well. I followed lots of videos and tutorials that were online and found that this way was the best way. It's kind of developed. I do a lot of workshops. So I've started one, but I'm going to start over this side so you can see, and then hopefully I'll get it finished during this session. All right, so yeah, do chat with me. I'm here for, I quite like multitasking, and we'll make a bauble wreath together. So as you can see, my colour theme for this one is a classic green and a gold. And the baubles that I buy, here's my top tips for buying baubles. You need to make sure that you're not buying glass ones, obviously. You also don't really want those huge fancy ones that you get because they're just quite hard to apply, and you need a mixture of sizes. So these ones, which I guess are about 7 centimetres wide, kind of standard big pots that you get in Home Bargains and B&M and all those sort of shops, you often get like a big pot of like 20 or 40 of these, and they're really good. It's really good if you can get some with glitter on and some shiny ones, a pack that's got a good mixture. And then this size is really handy as well, this kind of medium size. So again, I'd say that was about 4 or 5 centimetres big. They're really good for mixing it up. And then you can also use some of these smaller ones, which I guess are about 3 centimetres, I suppose. And again, in your colour theme, you can buy lots and lots. And we're looking for the ones that have got like the little plastic caps on the top now. But what you'll find, I bet this is an example of one that doesn't come off, but they do come off quite easily. And when that happens at home, it's not too bad. But when it's on your bauble wreath and there's a load of them on there, you will find that really annoying because you will, they'll pop off and then you won't be able to find where to put them back in. So what we're going to do is we're going to do something which is a bit of prevention rather than kind of cure, if that's the right sentence. You know what I mean? You're going to try and make sure that we don't have that happening now rather than next Christmas when you get it out of the box and it's all fallen apart, or when you're coming towards the end of your making, you're really happy with it, and then you pull a wire a bit tight and it pings off. So that's why I turn the hot glue gun on. Now, if you don't have a hot glue gun, you could use Gorilla Glue or UHU glue, not really a PVA, something a bit thicker than a PVA. And the only difference if you use a glue like that is that you'd obviously have to wait a couple of hours for them to dry. But obviously for this tutorial, I'm using, you can just about see it, the wire's a little bit short, a hot glue gun. And all I'm doing is I'm just gonna push it in. Oh, so I'm about to run out this stick. Oh, there you go. I'm just gonna be a bit cheeky and just put my finger in there. And I'm just going to pump a little bit of hot glue on the seam there, okay? So I don't know if you can see up close. It's not the most beautiful work I've ever done, but I'm just putting a little bit of hot glue there on the seam, and then I'm going to leave that to dry, and I'm going to grab another bauble, and I'm going to repeat. The other thing you have to do is take all these little bits of string off. All right, so don't worry if it's not that attractive, the glue that you're adding, because obviously you're not going to see that, because when you finally have your bauble wreath, it sits outwards, so all the ugliness is hidden behind there. So There we go. Oh, should have brought a new glue gun. A little bit of glue gun there. And one more. 2 seconds, I'm just going to get another glue gun stick. Here we go. And be careful when you're using a glue gun. This is the point where you put the new stick in and the glue will just pour out of the front. So make sure you have something ready for it to glue onto. Otherwise, you're going to get glue on your hot glue on your fingers. That's easier now. Thanks for waiting. So yeah, looks like this has been popular. This is probably the most people I've had. Yeah, I haven't got to the ring bit yet, Martine, sorry. I'll explain that in a second. So just doing baubles for now. Just preparing. You'll probably need, for a standard size bauble wreath, you'll probably need 40 or 50 baubles. It's quite surprising actually how many it takes up. And then you can use kind of creative shapes like this, but you can't really use, someone tried the other day, I do workshops, and someone tried using heart ones, but they didn't really work well because the hearts were sticking upwards. So they do need to generally be roundish baubles. I think that should be enough for me. I'm just trying to guess how many I need. This is quite a relaxing process. Just let me look if anyone else is chatting away. It's quite hard to read them all. Oh look, sounds good. Looks like you're helping each other, which is nice. Cool. All right, I reckon that's probably enough. I'm just going to unplug the hot glue gun. There we go. Okay, so now, yeah, I can see lots of you have been talking about the metal ring. I generally would use a bigger one than this. In Cardiff, which is where I'm from, the best value by far is to go to like the Floristry outlets. So we've got two here called Whittington's and AFS. I absolutely love them. They're the best places to go at this time of year. Very festive. What are plastic baubles called? Just baubles, I don't know, yeah. Glass ones are just quite expensive ones that you get in kind of like Waitrose and John Lewis and things. So I don't know, I don't think they're called anything in particular. You'll just know by the price that they're not the glass ones. The glass ones are pretty special ones. The ring itself, like I said, I buy, so in these lovely shops, they smell delicious at this time of year, and they're like loads of ribbon and all sorts of pretty things. And honestly, I think I picked them up for about 20p each. As you say though, you can buy them in Hobbycraft. They're about £2 there. If you buy them on eBay or Amazon, etc., then it's probably not worth buying one, because something like this, because of the size of it, will cost £4 in postage anyway, however the people send it to you. So you probably would only be best buying it online if you were buying a few of them, but maybe after you do one, you'll want to make more anyway, so hopefully that won't be such a problem. The other thing with buying baubles is buy them in person as well. Don't buy those online. I tried it once. One, they were really expensive. Two, it's just the volume of them is so big that the postage does cost a lot, and the quality was terrible. The best quality ones I found in person is B&M. They've got like the best colours. They've got these big barrels. They're the perfect size, and they're like £4. So you won't beat that online. So I would suggest buying your baubles in person if you can. All right, so let's get started. So these are wires, okay? I don't know if you can just about see them. Again, I picked them up in the Floristry store. They're about, 60 centimetres each. And they're, again, a big pack of them is about £1. But again, you could buy them online, the Floristry wire. They're just kind of an average size. They're not too thick, they're not too thin, if that helps. But I've used as well, like just silver wire that I had at home, kind of that you can buy in the DIY store. You could also buy this in the DIY store on a roll. You don't need long lengths like this. I do workshops, and these are perfect because they're already cut to size. But you don't have to use those if you don't have them. What I'm going to do, I'll start over this side, is I'm going to attach it to the side of the wreath here. All right. Chris is off to B&M. Honestly, I sound like I work for them, but they have got the best set of baubles. So it's attached, all right? Can you see that? Just roughly attached. And again, don't worry about all this stage. It's just, nothing's going to be seen afterwards. Then what I'm going to do, I'm trying to hold this and talk at the same time, is, let me find this, is I'm going to take a big bauble, so one of my nice big green ones, and I'm going to take a small bauble, okay? So, or a medium size. What I wouldn't suggest is that you put two big ones on at the same time, otherwise it gets really cluttered. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to flip it over. This is the front of my design here. It doesn't matter, your ring is either side. So let me just flip it over to the other side to show you what's happening. It's created like I'm going to go in a diagonal line. So I'm going over to the opposite side and I'm just going to attach it there. So I'm just going to wrap it round once and wrap it round twice for security. And then I'm going to make sure that my wire is on the front side again so that I'm ready to go. I'll do the next time on the white table below me so that you can maybe see it a little bit clearer. 2 seconds. All right, so let's try again. Oop, a little tripod. Okay, so this is where I am. Okay, so I've got my wires on the inside now and I want to travel back over to the outside, but I'm going to add 2 baubles as I go. So this time I'm going to add another big one. Ooh, hot glue's got everywhere. And I'm going to add a tiny one. You can get super organised with the patterns, or you can just kind of throw on and see what happens. So 2 on, and then I'm on the opposite side again, and I'm going to wrap that once and twice. If you want some inspiration for some beautiful colour combinations, I've done this class all weekend in my studio and some people's designs were absolutely amazing. My page is Lark Design Make and honestly I was so impressed by what they came up with. So I'm going to go again. So I'm going to go a big one and a little one. I'm going to zigzag back over to the inside. I'm going from the outside. Now you'll see they're all wobbling around. It's really hard, even in workshops. People won't believe me that it's okay if they wobble around a lot. And in the next kind of 5 minutes, when I get all the way around, you'll see why. I've got a super good way of fixing it. So I'm wrapping it around and I'm popping it back to the front, down again. Let's go big one. And I'll go to this one, gold, medium, like a little one. All right, so like I said, at this point, if you hadn't glued them, you'd find it really frustrating. So I'm going back up to the top, wrapping it around, finishing at the front, popping it down. You want them so that, like what I'm doing here, is that they sit on the table. If they start to kind of sit upright and they're no longer sitting on the table, then you do need to have a little fix and make sure that you squeeze them all in, because it's a real nightmare if it becomes 3D. Here, I think I can fit one more in. 2. So I've got my big and my small, so I've gone from the outside and I'm going over in a diagonal line to the opposite side. It gets a little bit tricky where I'm meeting another bunch of baubles. I'm going to put probably one more on, I think. So I'm happy with this little combo, but there's quite a big space by here. So I'm just going to add one medium size, and I think a glitter one is going to fit perfectly in there. And I'll try and have a little look at your questions later. I wasn't really expecting it to be so busy. So it's quite hard to demonstrate and read questions at the same time, but so do have a little look later and I'll reply to you afterwards. Okay, so that wire, sorry, I just carried on there, I was chatting away, but that wire finished. So what I did is I just wrapped it around. So the back is looking crazy ugly, but hopefully you can kind of see that it's starting to look a little bit like a bauble wreath. And then what I'm going to do is just take another piece of wire. And like I said, if you don't have these pre-cut ones, don't go out and buy them especially. You can use any wire. I would just suggest wire that's malleable by hand. You don't really want to hurt yourself by using anything that's a little bit rigid. So what colours have I got there? I'll go for this one. So I'll do this quite quickly. It won't be the most beautiful bauble wreath there ever has been. But the good thing is I can add a few more after the video so that you can like get to B&M like Chris. So again, so I've attached them on the outside. I'm going over to the inside. And then when I get to the inside, wrapping it around once, twice, and ending up at the front. Then grabbing another bauble, once, oh, might have to get another one out the back, out of the box, and two. Wrapping it around, twice. I find this, yeah, quite enjoyable to do. And once you get your little process, the first couple will feel really weird. They may not be tight enough, but I think the process, and like I said, I teach this quite a lot as a workshop, and people find it quite hard for the first few minutes. And then once they get their rhythm, so do persevere. So again, 2 baubles on, over to the opposite side. Now, people have tried doing 3 and lots of little ones and lots of big ones, and generally they find the most success if they do a big and a small. The 3 can end up being a little bit hard to manage because it just goes a little bit wild. So that one, and that one, so 1 and 2, over to the other side, and I think one more, and I can show you the next stage. Thanks for waiting for me, but I thought it would be really nice. Yes, Dot, you can do this. I also have faith in you. This is the craft for you. Yes, and Chris is going to be an M for everyone, I think. The problem is you've got to hope that someone like me hasn't been in before you and stolen all the good colours. I think everyone in Cardiff probably hates me because I go in and just fill my trolley because I do these workshops. All right, so I've just filled in that last space with one more bauble. And like I said, I probably, if I was doing this a little bit slower, would maybe spend a little bit more time. There's a couple of little gaps, like here, can you see? There's a gap, and here, but I'm okay. I think it's going to look all right in a minute. Now, obviously, at the moment, it's okay, but it's not looking very secure. So I'm going to do a little bit of finishing work to make it look even better. So the first thing you can do is you can get extra pieces of wire. So just cut yourself maybe, I don't know, 60, 80 centimetres lengths. Attach them to any edge, wherever you can get in. And then I want you to cluster the baubles in little sections. So how you're going to do that is, I'm just attaching it there, is I'm just going to stay on the front side only. And I'm going to, can you see I just went past all 3 of those because I think they'll look quite nice together. I'm making sure, can you see this one's fallen behind? So I'm going to pick him up. Oh, there's another one actually that's fallen behind, this one here. So just be gentle with them and just put them back so they're all on the front. And then I'm up here, I'm going to wrap it around, and I've kind of clustered those. That one's being really stubborn and doesn't want to stay there. So I'm just going to make him by putting the wire behind him so he can't squeeze through anymore. So those now are fairly rigid. He's really stubborn, that one. Let me try one more time to keep him in place. So again, this definitely is not my finest, most attractive work, but it honestly doesn't matter because I've got another trick for you at the end. Let's cluster some of these. So these, I'll do it from the back this time maybe so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm attaching it anywhere on the frame, so just with a couple of wraparounds, like so. And then, actually it's probably easier on the other side, is I'm just going to, it's going round the shape of the baubles. It doesn't matter what colour wire you've got. And you're just going to grab a bundle of them. You can kind of, what I call, like anchor them together. So if you've got one that's quite in a good position and you've got one that's being a bit naughty, you can anchor them together. Oh, he's stiff. So here he is. Oh, that's the one. Towards the end, I used a couple from the box that hadn't been glued, and that's exactly what happens. So that's why I suggest popping that glue on first. So I'm just going round in a loop, and I'm literally just sticking them all together so that nothing can get in their way. So there we go. Oh, and then attach it back with a little wraparound at the end. Getting there, yeah? This one's a bit rogue here. Let's just put him in position. So he needs to go there. So just wrapping the next bit of wire. So it's quite a lot of wire needed, but again, this step, so wrapping it round that naughty one, he was kind of keeps flopping down and securing him to another bundle. He's kind of done now, so I'm just going to keep using this wire to kind of get these into a little bit of a nicer shape. Picking that one up a little, dropping that one down a little. Nearly done. Squeezing that one to the front. Like so. And last bit of wire, because can you see I've got a couple of mini ones that have poked out here, so I'm just going to poke them through so that they're in position, and then I'm going to use this piece of wire to make sure that they don't do that again. 1, there, 2. You want to make sure they're all visible. Linda's saying she's having it, will have a go. Yes, if you do have a go, do add your pictures to this conversation, or you can tag me. And I love to see that I'm keeping, you know, the festive craft alive. It's a pretty fun time to get involved in. One thing I can guarantee is that you'll get totally covered in glitter, which is quite nice at this time of year. There you go. So can you see just with that extra bit of wire, there's a couple of still that have been naughty, but again, I won't keep you on here too long. I can tell you're raring to go. And then now a little bit more static. And then the final thing is everyone's favourite Christmas thing, is some tinsel. Now, I finished the last workshop on Sunday and everyone used up my gold. So I've only got this silver stuff available. So it's a bit weird. So what I thought, this was 79p again in the shop that I seem to be promoting. Or maybe that's Home Bargains actually. I think that packaging is Home Bargains. But you want this sort of stuff. So you don't want that huge, chunky, expensive tinsel. It's just really hard to apply. You want this is quite cheap, kind of quite soft, and they often comes in lots of colours, and it's often about this sort of price mark. That will make it look, let me just show you a little bit. There's two options actually, is you can then just apply it. So again, you can knot it because it's a little bit more like string. So actually knot it onto a side. I would obviously normally go gold, but unfortunately I'm all out. And then you're going to snake it around your baubles, and that's going to fill in all those gaps and make it. So again, just front side only, and you're just going to hide the wire frame, pick up any last naughty. Oh, I promise these are the ones that I didn't glue. This is what, and that's why it's quite hard. One, I'm going to have to go and find that on the floor. And two, I'm going to have to find where that little holder is there. This is why I should have glued up a few before we started. All right, so you can see that looks pretty. Or if you don't like the bling of the big tinsel, you often find this sort of stuff in the supermarket. So it's kind of like a wiry tinsel. So it's much thinner. They do them in little boxes in Home Bargains. I can't believe how much I know about Christmas supply shops. Yeah, they do like a really fine tinsel in Home Bargains in a little plastic pot for 99p. That's quite nice, and that's a little bit more discreet. So if you don't want the effect of big wild tinsel, like so, then you can use this in the same way. So you would just attach it on anywhere on the frame. And then this is a little bit more hard work because obviously you've got like quite a lot of frame that I want to cover. So I'm going to have to do quite a lot of weaving. I'm going to have to go round a couple of times, but the effect is a bit more discreet. So that might be your style. So you can go for that. Also, people in the class the other day were attaching a bit of greenery in their designs. They were attaching a little bit of like things that they had at home, just generally from their Christmas boxes. There was all sorts of natural things. There was also, because you'd be doing a bigger frame, there's a bigger hole in the centre. People were attaching special baubles here. People were attaching special baubles there. So yeah, so it's coming on nicely, isn't it? I think the thinner stuff isn't working so well for me today, but mostly because I rushed a little and mine's a little bit gappier than it should be. So I would probably prefer a thicker tinsel, but I would obviously prefer that it was in gold rather than silver. But wow, it's Christmas, isn't it? It's shiny as shiny. So I'll just finish it off with the silver so you can see the finished product. And then at the end, you just need to get some ribbon. And again, don't go out and buy ribbon. I bet you've got some at home somewhere that you've kept from some gift packaging, something like that. Let's have a little look. Let's just finish that off. It's hard to use the whole thing. I'd probably cut it off there because I wouldn't want to have it too tinsely. And again, that's where that bauble jumped off across the room. So that would be filled in. So that would be the final product. And then you could, I said and then so many times today, take a piece of ribbon. What's that? That's about 80 centimetres. Fold it in half. Get someone to have a little look at your design, rotate it and let them tell you where they think the natural top of the design is. I think maybe there, based on looking at my camera. Let's have a look, there will do. And then I just take the two cut ends, pass them through the frame, and then loop it on, so a lark's head knot. And then you can knot it at the top and attach it to the door. Let me just cut these two ugly bits off so you can see what's going on. 1 and 2. And there we have it. A bauble wreath ready to put on my door, ready to show my neighbours that it's time to start the festive year off. So yes, hopefully that wasn't too quick for you. I like to kind of keep my tutorials kind of snappy. I like you to kind of get creative yourself. But yeah, my top tips would be preparing the baubles before. The hot glue gun is perfect, but also like a UHU or a Gorilla Glue, and that's just to make sure that like this one that's fallen off, that the plastic bits on the top are attached permanently. Here we go. Yeah, everyone's rushing to B&M, using medium, using a mixture of size baubles, plastic baubles only, avoiding online, buying them in person. You can buy them in most of the supermarkets. Maybe you could even get them added to your food order. I'm not sure if they include the baubles, but that would be a great way of getting hold of them at a really good price. A metal frame, Hobbycraft or online, or if you have a little Google, see if there's a floristry kind of shop near you that you're able to visit, because they're amazing and they're really cheap. And then some thin, flexible tinsel, and then obviously lots of wire. So again, any wire that you can bend with your hands. You don't want to involve tools at that stage. Floristry wire is perfect, but also that kind of silver wire that you get in the hardware store is great. So yeah, so hopefully, and then like I said, the key thing is just attaching all the baubles first with the wire in a zigzag kind of fashion, adding 2 baubles at a time, but avoiding 2 big ones. And then afterwards using more wire to just secure them all, to anchor them, to bundle them up into little bunches so that they're not kind of all baggy and loose. And then to finish off, whip around with the tinsel, pop on a ribbon, and there you go. You are ready to show your neighbours who's the most festive in the street, and probably make them as gifts. Great, lots of nice comments. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to always do these. So I hope you do enjoy making these. And yes, fiddly but simple. I would definitely agree. That's probably the perfect description of this task. But yeah, once you get it, it's quite addictive. All right, well, I'll see you again soon. I think I'm doing another one next week, a little bit simpler, like little paper crafts for your tree. Really good for kids as well, so you could always save it and watch it later. All right, have a good afternoon, and I hope there's some baubles left in B&M. Bye.